happening, people? It's your girl Minna. Welcome back to the channel. You already know what it is. Big up to everyone locked in on this wonderful Friday. It's the last Friday before football returns. International break is over. Manchester United play tomorrow, so of course you know what it is. We're going to talk about that. But big up to everyone locked in. Be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe. Happy Friday, Jummah Mubarak, and all of them things there. Peace and blessings to all of you lot. Let me know how your day's been before we get into it. And we get into the football talk. Let me know how your day has been. Daily Dose of Minna is back. I don't think I did it yesterday, but I did it the day before. And if I'm not here and I'm not live here, you guys know where else to find me as well. I'm live on Twitch as well. And today, we will be live on Twitch playing Spider-Man Miles Morales. Because if one thing about me, guys, I'm a disgrace in it. I play games backwards. I play them in the wrong order backwards. So I've played Spider-Man 2 last year, October, when it came in, without playing Miles Morales. Yeah, I'm a disgrace. So we're going to play that. So come through, man. Come through. We're trying to get to 100 followers on Twitch. Link is in the chat right now. So all you have to do is go over and press follow. That's it. Simple as. And if you want to support me as well, you can go over and subscribe to my gaming channel, which that link is also in the chat as well. I'm currently posting shorts there, but I think I need like 100 subs to go live on there. So you lot know what you have to do. Get me to 100 subs. Big up to Ridwan in the chat. Big up Javed. Big up to Broderick. Big up Adam. Big up Joe Blackman. Big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button, guys, as you come in. Last promotion, but if you want to join the Minions gang, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course, you get to support the ever-growing community and channel here. If you want to support the channel in other ways, you can by sending in super chats with your comments, with your questions, and with your thoughts. Now, on that note, we got a little bit to talk about today because, of course, it's Manchester United versus Southampton tomorrow. I've just done my FPL, but now I'm looking at it, guys. My FPL looks shit. My midfield looks ass. It actually looks crap. So I think I might have to rethink my FPL later on this afternoon. Manchester United kick off the Premier League, game week 4, with a 12:30 kickoff down south on the coast to Southampton. I mean, if it's anything like it's been the last couple of days, i.e. the weather in the south of England, then it's going to be a cold matchup for Manchester United. I hope that's not going to be the excuse, but it's a big one. It's a big one. And you lot are probably thinking, come on, Southampton, big one. Really, it is. It helps to build momentum. After this, Man United got Barnsley at home in the Carabao Cup. I think it's after that is Spurs, and then it's 20, and then it's Spurs. So this is the best time to gain momentum, and this is the best time to start getting into form. That's the most important thing, getting into form and just starting off the strides pretty well. Like coming off of the back of the Liverpool game and the Brighton game, of course it's not easy, but if Manchester United pick up a third loss, that is not looking good. That is not looking good. So we're going to talk about the Southampton game. We are going to talk in depth about Erik ten Hag's pre-game comments, as you can say, the embargoed one and the one that came out yesterday as well. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about Manchester United's summer window because it still seems to not be over. Those Rabiot links keep on reappearing every single time. Every single time. Like, guys, it's like one day the talk comes up about Rabiot, then it disappears and says, nope, there's nothing to it. Then it resurfaces again. Now, of course, he's a free agent. I don't think he's actually the best free agent on the market right now. I'm looking at all the free agents, and really, he's the only one I think that a lot of clubs could be interested in. So we're going to talk about that. So be sure to hit the like button, guys, and be sure to subscribe. I know I was late coming onto the stream, but yeah, don't ask any questions. Don't ask any questions. I've had a howler today so far. But let's get into it. Let's start with Adrien Rabiot. Before we get into the big one, which is, of course, previewing tomorrow's game, let's quickly just talk about Adrien Rabiot. Now, reportedly, Rabiot's move or potential move to Manchester United is being pushed by his mother. His mother is trying to get him a move to Manchester United, and reportedly Manchester United have held discussions with Adrien Rabiot in the last coming days. Manchester United have a better relationship with the player's agent because the salary demands have now decreased. I think that is the biggest thing that is kind of, if Man United were to make a move for Adrien Rabiot, I think this is the thing that's holding it back. It's the wages. I mean, if Manchester United are looking at potentially a role player midfielder, and I think he will add good depth. I think the salary is the biggest problem. Now, Manchester United do not want, I think, under this new ownership or this new leadership, they do not want to pay drastic salaries for players that are not starters or are not, what's the right term? They're not a big factor of the team. Now, you lot are probably thinking, what? Man United give 250 to Mason Mount, 300 something to Rashford, 375 to, or 350, I think it is, to Bruno Fernandes. They've been there for a bit longer. And this is more so where the new structure can kind of, not, I don't want to say, they can get their fingers dirty, i.e. this is, I'm trying to find the best way to put it and make it make sense. Adrian Rabiot coming into Manchester United on a smaller salary compared to a bigger salary, it will be under scrutiny. If he comes in on a big salary, it will be under scrutiny because it will go against everything that this new leadership have kind of tried to sell to Manchester United fans. And can I just say that this is a deal that Manchester United could look at from a PSR perspective that could come quite handy because it would be no transfer fee. He's a free agent, so it'd be no transfer fee. So really, the only cost that they would be absorbing on their financial accounts this year would just be his salary. That's it. They wouldn't have to amortize any transfer fee, which obviously would take a hit on their balance sheet. So they're chilling. They're Gucci. That would help them. Now, we know already Manchester United's financial position for the last financial year. We already know, Manchester United in 3 years have reported a loss of 257 million, but there is still, that is not the final numbers. And the reason why I say that's not the final numbers is because there's a lot of exemptions when it comes to PSR regulations, some of it including academy costs, R&D, if there's any R&D, which there is at Manchester United right now. They're building this new Carrington facility for the men's team. The women's team come under R&D. I think the takeover cost has an exemption as well. So Manchester United will just about, the prediction and the expectation is in the financial world is that Manchester United will just about be within the regulations of PSR for the 3-year period. Signing Rabiot would not hinder that. It would not hinder that. But 200k a week, I don't think it's going to be something that Manchester United look at. I think if it's more within, 120k, Carl says he shouldn't be paid more than 150k, 120k a week max, 2 years. I think that is perfect outcome. Something less than 150k, 110, 115, 120, 125 on a 2-year deal. 2 years. That's giving you this year and next year. And Manchester United could choose to sell him next year. I think that would be the best outcome in all situations. And it's not just Manchester United that are looking at him, by the way. Reportedly, Arsenal are looking at him as well. Now, like I said, there's a lot of teams, I think, in the Premier League that could do with an Adrian Rabiot type of player. It's just the noise that follows him, which is not always necessarily a good thing. We already know the impact it kind of had or has had in the French national team. And we know that his agent is quite a big factor in his decision making when it comes to football. So this is something to keep an eye on. I don't know when is the final deadline, I guess, or can you sign free agents at any point during the season? This is probably the one thing that I'm not familiar with in football. Can you sign a free agent at any point during the season, or does it have to be by a certain point in the season? If you do happen to know, let me know. And this is just funny because where do people find these pictures from? This is Adrian Rabiot and his mom, who is his agent. Where do people find these pictures from? The internet is the gift that is always given. But let's get into it. Before we get into the Erik ten Hag-ism of his press conference, let's get into this piece that was released by The Athletic today from Laurie Whitwell. In depth talking about Manchester United's summer, what their transfer window was like, and what is it that is exactly the role for these football execs that Manchester United have brought in. Now, who have they brought in? They've brought in Umar Barada, they've brought in Dan Ashworth, they've brought in Jason Wilcox, they've brought in Sir Dave Brailsford, and they've brought in Jean-Claude Blanc so far. They've also brought in Christopher Vivel, who is an interim director of recruitment, but it's probably expected that he will stay on for a prolonged period. Now, all these guys, I think, have had a part to play in what Manchester United's summer window has looked like, from Erik ten Hag staying to the summer transfer window. Now, I know that in an interview with The Athletic, Umar Barada and Dan Ashworth kind of doubled down on the notion that they were not present when the decision to keep Erik ten Hag was made. But now that I've seen the financial aspect for Manchester United's financial year, I kind of get why they kept him. I kind of understand it was a financial decision to keep him. Now, for me, and I've said this time and time again, Erik ten Hag must deliver this season. And that seems to be the notion that is shared across the executive team at Manchester United. Not that he should deliver, but there should be significant improvements. Manchester United have spent near enough 200 million in consecutive windows. They've brought in major targets, not just for the club, but also for the manager, players that the manager has also wanted. And they've kind of given him, I think, all the utensils to cook, if you want to put it like that. They've given him all the utensils that he needs to cook. And he has to cook. He can't burn the food at this point, especially off of the back of last season. Now, some of the things he said in the press conference, which we're going to get into, is quite interesting because he spoke a bit about Toby Collier, he spoke about Manuel Ugarte, and that's one person that we're going to talk about as well, because he has reported back for training. I think Erik ten Hag said he was the last player to report back, which is expected. He's coming from Uruguay, and he was also playing a game, I think, the night before he reported back, whereas everyone else from Europe reported back early. But this notion that Ugarte is not ready to play, I'm not having it. But we're going to save that for the stream section, the section of the stream where we're going to preview tomorrow's game. Now, some standout points is Jason Wilcock. What is Jason Wilcock's role at Manchester United? Well, his role this summer in particular was to work closely with Manchester United's first team, including watching training sessions and providing assistance to Erik ten Hag. He was also working across all the summer signings of the academy players that Manchester United bought, which includes Chido Obi Martin, which is yet to be ratified by the Premier League, and Sekou Kone. Another person that was involved in the recruitment of these academy players, including the recruitment of Sekou Kone, is Christopher Vivel, as I mentioned, former RB Leipzig and Salzburg recruitment director. He was the drive behind this transfer of Sekou Kone, and the player was known to Manchester United's head of scouting operations, which is Steve Brown. But it was felt that previously recruitment staff may have been unable to execute such a difficult deal. So they have been involved. Which is, I think, absolutely is a positive that we can clearly see. Now, reportedly, Umar Barada has set a good tone for communication across Manchester United and emphasizing accountability across all staff, not just the staff that's involved with match day activities, but across all of Manchester United. Now, Manchester United are but they're appointing a chief revenue officer, as I mentioned, and obviously that is in line, I think, with the goals to be more PSR compliant, because without being PSR compliant, in my opinion, if you're not PSR compliant, you will struggle. You can go out and buy whoever you want in this window, but if you are not PSR compliant, you are going to struggle to keep up with the regulations of the league. And you can possibly find yourself in a situation like Manchester City do, or you can find yourself in a situation like Everton have, or Nottingham Forest, or Leicester, even though that they bust case. But let's get into it. Let's get into the details of the press conference, because Erik ten Hag did an interview with Manchester United TV just ahead of tomorrow's game, and he spoke about quite numerous things, one of which being Manuel Ugarte. He said, at the moment, it's difficult. Manuel Ugarte is the only player who we couldn't manage to get back, i.e. return, on Wednesday evening. He came back on Thursday morning, apparently. He's now here, a bit tired from traveling, but we have to see how he is. Then we will make a decision. Now, I think, and again, I don't want to, I hate speculating, but I don't know how to take stuff like this, because for me, Manchester United need a player like Manuel Ugarte. If we saw what Casemiro done in the previous game, and you know what, that's actually me being a bit harsh on Casemiro, because I think anyone would have struggled in that lone midfield where you're targeted by the opponent consistently. But Manuel Ugarte is needed in that midfield. If Manchester United fans and other people genuinely feel like Casemiro is the biggest issue, I need to see Manuel Ugarte in a Manchester United shirt playing for 90 minutes. Now, it's difficult because he hasn't had the opportunity to train much. I think he trained for one session before Liverpool, and then he's trained now for 2 sessions. He hasn't had the opportunity to play regularly in training and get used to the environment. I absolutely agree with that. But Man United had no issue, or Erik ten Hag had no issue putting Nazir Mazraoui into the first team immediately off the back of joining Manchester United, despite the fact that he didn't He wasn't there for a lot of training sessions, similar to Manuel Ugarte. Similar to Manuel Ugarte, he was playing in preseason. Nazir Mazraoui was playing in preseason with Bayern Munich. Manuel Ugarte was not playing first team football for PSG since the season started. He was training individually, and he had played in the Copa America back in July, and has now travelled for international duty. Now, if he was not ready to play first team consistent football, for me, he would not have went on international duty. And not only that, he would not have played a number of minutes on international duty. So that, given with the idea that, when Man United did sign Ugarte, there was, reports that the manager never really wanted him and he wanted to keep Scott McTominay. For me, I'm seeing this as an excuse. Because the previous track record of the manager is that he was comfortable putting players in immediately. I mean, you could flip it and be like, it's players that he trusts, i.e. Nazir Mazraoui is a former player of his, which I get that. But if Manchester United's midfield is literally crying out for help, then there is no reason you shouldn't want him to get match fit as quickly as possible and play him. It doesn't have to be for 90 minutes. Hopefully for me, Manchester United can get a result and kind of wrap up the game by 60 minutes tomorrow and take people off. Manchester United have Barnsley a couple of days later. That I expect Manchester United to field a much weaker, I don't want to say weaker team, but a much more rotated side, because it's Barnsley in the third round, I think, of the Carabao Cup. Manchester United last season matched up, I think it was Palace in the opening round of the Carabao Cup, and then Newcastle after, which they got knocked out by. Manchester United now have a lot easier card that they've been dealt for the third round of the Carabao Cup, and they should utilize that by playing a rotated team. Now, if you look at injuries, and Erik ten Hag touched on the injuries, the only real injuries Manchester United have at the moment is Rasmus Højlund, which there is certainty about when he will come back, but Manchester United are reportedly happy to kind of ease him back in rather than rushing him back the 6 weeks kind of period that he was meant to be out for. So Rasmus Højlund is one player that we know is out. Luke Shaw is another player that we know is out. And Tyrell Malacia is another player that we know is out. But you look at all the other players that are available, you can't say to me that there's not a starting 11, and Mason Mount, sorry. You can't say to me that there's not a starting 11 that Manchester United can rotate against Barnsley and should be able to comfortably win, right? Premier League, 3 points is always important. It's always important for me to field a big team, a team that can get results. And Erik ten Hag has always spoken about this idea of reward. He spoke about it in this interview as well with Man United TV, talking about Toby Collier, and he said he's had a very good preseason, but even before this, he earned the right to be in the preseason squad, and he earned the minutes he got, and he impressed. Therefore, he has earned the right to play. And that's not just the message for the young players, whether you are young or old, whether you've won everything or nothing, you have to earn the right to play. That sounds like, to me, it does sound like an indirect at Manuel Ugarte, but I can also look at it and be like, it's contradictory. It is really, really contradictory, because you have players out of form that have always kept their spot in the team. So it's not necessarily always about you earning the right to play. What is meant by earning the right? Is earning the right because you've had good performances? Because in this instance for Toby Collier, it is, he had a good preseason, but he also earned the right to be in that preseason squad. But when you're earning the right to play, does that have to be consistent amongst all 25, 26 man squad in the team? That's my question. And I would love to ask Erik ten Hag that, because a lot of players, and there have been players last season, for example, and even players, there's some this season, who have not impressed, who have struggled, who have not hit the ground running, who have continued to play and have continued to get opportunities. So it's not necessarily always about having earning the right to play. And I don't think it's also a message to all the players. I think it's a message to specific players. And I think it's also a message to Manuel Ugarte that he has to earn the right to play in this Manchester United squad. Now, Erik ten Hag also spoke about Tyrell Malacia, a person that we haven't seen much, but we've seen little training stuff of him. And he said, we want to motivate him to return, but it's not so easy when you are so long away. Over a season now from an injury to return, but he's working very hard. He's progressing very well in this moment. He's making big steps, so we think at short notice we can expect him in team training, and he's a talent. It's natural. I also expect soon he will return into games. I mean, the return of Malacia is beneficial to Manchester United squad. because right now Man United don't have any other fullback outside of Mazraoui and Dalot. Luke Shaw's injured, and obviously Malacia is injured. My only worry with Malacia is that he's been out for so long. Possibly, there could possibly be, I think, it could possibly be an 18-month period between when he went out injured or when he had surgery, i.e., the beginning of preseason last year, to him returning. It could be 18 months. Now, players could easily, in those 18 months, they can easily lose their explosiveness. They can I don't want to say lose their talent, but they can easily lose their ability and what they were good at. It could not disappear, but it could definitely change. It could definitely change. And obviously, Eric Ten Hag is saying he's a natural talent, but I, for one, I am not expecting the same type of Malacia to return to Manchester United whenever he does, whenever he becomes match ready. I'm not expecting the Malacia that pocketed Salah in the first game against Liverpool in Eric Ten Hag's first season. I don't expect that. I'm worried he might lose a lot of his explosiveness, and the fact that already Manchester United are reportedly looking at signing a left back next summer transfer window, that says a lot. That between Malacia and Luke Shaw, there's not really a future there. There is definitely not a future in the fullback position. But just quickly on Manchester United before we kind of get into tomorrow and the expectations. I mean, I can't believe the thumbnail says 3 points for a game against Southampton. Like I say all the time, no disrespect to Southampton. No disrespect. But they are a newly promoted side that struggled the last time they were in the Premier League. I think the first time we played them under Eric Ten Hag, we just about won 1-0 away from, I think that was at home. I can't remember. But we just about beat them 1-0. The second time we played them, it was 0-0. And at that point, it was like March, I think. And they were already practically relegated. And Manchester United just were dead. They were dead. And that is not even in the season that Manchester United had a horrible Premier League campaign, i.e. last season. This was in Eric Ten Hag's first season. And it's when I think the cracks started to show post Carabao Cup. Now, according to Laurie Whitwell, there is acknowledgement of bare application to pressing in games against Fulham and Brighton, as well as the pre-season Community Shield game against Manchester City. Manchester United have the 5th highest expected goals in the Premier League at 5.2, behind Manchester City, but ahead of Arsenal. United have only scored twice, the joint second lowest total. Does anyone care about XG? Like, generally, I know it's a statistic model to follow, and like football, like everything else, is becoming a data-driven kind of industry. I understand that, but coming here and saying Man United have one of the 5th highest expected goals in the league, what that means to me is that clearly Manchester United are creating chances and not finishing it. But also, let's look at the comparison of those who, for example, reportedly Manchester United are ahead of Arsenal in XG. How many goals have Arsenal scored this season in comparison to Manchester United? And you'll have your answer there. It's not always about XG. And that's why sometimes I think I'm very big on eye tests. You lot know me. I like stats. I like data. You lot know I like a good little graph. But I'm always led by the eye test before I look at data and I look at stats. Because sometimes data necessarily, I think, shows you things that you won't see from the naked eye. But you will see things from the naked eye that data doesn't show you. And that's why I don't think we should always follow data per se when it comes to analyzing how bad United are doing or how good United are doing. Because for example, last season, I could watch last season with my eyes, with the naked eye, right? And I could tell you United were crap. I don't want to see what data had to say. I don't want to see what XG had to say. I don't want to see what created chances had to say. I don't want to see what stats had to say. You could tell just from watching Manchester United for those 12 months or for those 9 months, however long the season was, that Man United were not that good and they struggled. Now, this is a positive, but also I think this XG thing, Manchester United having the 5th highest XG in the league, despite having the second or the joint lowest number of goals scored in the season so far, that just kind of doubled down on the clear perception, which is Manchester United cannot create chances. They create chances, but they cannot finish their chances. And that is maybe something that works in Erik Ten Hag's favor, because Erik Ten Hag cannot physically walk onto the pitch and lead the team into the goal. Like he cannot he can set them up to create the chances, but he cannot physically finish the chances for them. So that, for example, for me, works in Erik Ten Hag's favor, but it's not necessarily always the case. It's not really necessarily all the case. XG hype. Now it goes on to say, Laurie Whitwell goes on to say that there was some concern among Manchester United personnel that gaps in the midfield were once again evident in the 3-0 loss against Liverpool. Questions were raised internally about whether this is a problem with the players or the instructions they are being given. We debate this all the time on the channel. Given similar issues occurring last season, there are people at the club who feel the roots are systemic and that a remedy should be sought on the training pitches at Carrington. They think it's a system problem, which I think, and I've been saying it for quite a bit now. I think it also is a system issue, because if it's reoccurring all the time, it cannot be individual errors at that point. If the same problem occurs multiple times, it's not individual errors. Clearly, there is something wrong with the system. Now, if you go back last season, if you go back to Erik Ten Hag's first few games of the season, in his first year, these problems were there, right? It's only when Manchester United decided to start playing Fred and Casemiro, or, playing two players in midfield where one just runs and one just tackles. That is literally how Erik Ten Hag cured the problem. After, I would say, Carabao Cup, after Barcelona, the problems started to resurface again. The issues started to resurface because I think Erik Ten Hag tried to implement what he wanted to implement. That's what he wanted to do. Now, last season, it was on show for the world to see. There's not a game that I can't think of where Manchester United was not run through in the midfield. I don't want to use that term. There's not a game I can think of last season where Manchester United did not vacate the midfield. You name it, Crystal Palace, you can say Bournemouth, you can say West Ham, you can say Galatasaray, you could say Bayern Munich. You could say what Bayern Munich game was a basketball match. Anytime that Manchester United played anyone last season, it was a basketball match, because there was no control in the midfield and it was just bang, bang, back up and down the pitch, up and down the pitch. Coming into this season, 3 games in, and you can still see the same problems on show. So for me, I agree with what Laurie Whitwell has written in this article, where, people internally feel like it's a system issue, because it is. It is definitely a system issue. You could put Noah's Ark in the midfield and it wouldn't stop anything. It would not stop anything, because literally playing one person in midfield against, most of the time, by the way, opponents have 3 midfielders most of the time. What do you expect is going to happen? What do you expect is going to happen? Even that Everton game that we won 3-0 last season, Everton had 24 shots and more possession. You know what? I actually was having this conversation with someone the other day, and we were talking about, obviously, Man United and Onana. And I was actually having this conversation as well with Mo. Big up to Judge Mo. What was I going to say? Yeah, Everton game. Mo is a big fan of Onana, and he said that Onana has always been good, even at Inter, and he's an Inter fan. And we were debating whether it's Onana that is just a brain-dead goalkeeper who just cannot make saves, or is it the system that is allowing him to face this many chances? Now, if you go back to David De Gea's last season at Manchester United, where Man United had most clean sheets in the league, David De Gea won the Golden Glove, right? We had a much better defense because we had a stable backline. We had Varane and Licha for a majority of the season, and we had the fullbacks. Put Onana in that season. Do you think Man United still have the most clean sheets? That's my question to everybody. Because some people are saying that it's the system that is bringing out these flaws in Onana, but I don't think the system makes you dive late or makes you have bad placement or makes you have bad positioning. I don't think it's the system that parries away a chance and it lands someone else's feet. I don't think it's the system that does that. I think it's your goalkeeping technique. Should you be facing that many shots? No. Man United should not be facing 20 plus shots a game. They shouldn't be doing that. I don't care if you're shooting from the halfway line. You shouldn't be allowing someone to shoot from the halfway line. But the fact, like, even Liverpool last season, if you don't remember when we went to Anfield away, they were just taking shots from everywhere. And last season, a lot of opponents realized if you just keep shooting from everywhere, Man United will eventually crumble. Onana will struggle to save a shot, which is what's happened. Even the last, the Liverpool game, right? Luis Diaz's second goal, his positioning is bad. His positioning was so bad. He was at his near post and he still got beat. The Mohamed Salah goal, just poor positioning. It's always the poor positioning that kind of throws me off. It's not really the shot stopping, because I feel like if you're in a good position, you'll get a better hand to it. But if you're not in a good position, you're not going to get a good hand to it. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Nope, Onana is crap. Even Eto was getting at him. Yeah, I mean, his relationship at his national team just doesn't make sense to me after the time. Big up Nuruddin. I hope you're doing well. Onana in a system that suited him reached the UCL final and was a standout player. Essentially, that's what me and Mo were debating. Me and Mo were talking about that, and he was saying, you know, you have to, the player has to be the right player for the system. Now, for me, David De Gea, not David De Gea, in Onana, he obviously ticks a lot of boxes of what Manchester United want in a goalkeeper. And I thought last season, I gave him the benefit of the doubt last season. I wasn't too harsh on him just because I felt like it's everyone that joins Man United, I give them one season to settle in. And after that, I will look at you with a magnifying glass. And that's the case with Onana. I gave him last season just to jitters, kind of just nervousness of being at Manchester United and being at a new club. And this season, he hasn't really started on a good slate. For me, anyways, that's just my personal opinion. But it's nice to know, and to be honest, that Ineos are paying attention to the systematic issues at Manchester United and in kind of the formation. All banter aside, Ten Hag needs to stop worrying about interviews and coach his team. He has to do interviews. Like it's part of being a coach. He has to do the pre-match interviews. Unfortunately, let's get into it. Let's get into it and talk about Southampton. Because this guy here, he needs to at what point in the season do I stop coming on stream saying Marcus Rashford needs to step up? Because I've been doing it pretty much every game for the last 12 months. I've been coming on stream saying Marcus Rashford needs to step up. Marcus Rashford needs to step up. But as I've said earlier, and I've said it, you know, yesterday on the full view, for me, this is the best time in the season for Manchester United to get into some form. You know, they've got a run of games that are favorable. Some of the games are favorable. Definitely the next three games I think are favorable for Manchester United. You know, they've got Southampton tomorrow. They've got Palace. They've got they got Barnsley. They got Palace. They got FC20. And then they got Spurs. So that's 5 games. 3 of them being Premier League games. They are favorable fixtures, I think, in the cup games. That if Man United can get a result, momentum can build. And football is always about momentum. A bit about football is definitely about momentum. And for me, no one better can help Man United kickstart that than Marcus Rashford. I mean, he's been posting videos of him training during the international break, putting in a shift, getting punched in the stomach. I don't know what Ten Hag system requires you to get punched in the stomach, but each to their own, you know, gaining strength, all of that kind of stuff. But I think there's no better player that can kickstart Manchester United's run of positive games, positive performances than Marcus Rashford. Because he's the guy that I think gets the most criticism. Like the criticism on Marcus Rashford is probably, he gets the most. After, I think Bruno gets criticism. I think Onana gets criticism. I think Luke Shaw gets criticism. But for me, I think out of all the players, it's Marcus Rashford. So the only way you silence people, this is a performance. A good performance is the only way to shut people up. And please, Rashford, if you are watching this, or if someone that knows Rashford is watching this, this is the best time for you to kickstart shutting everyone up, including me. Because to be honest, I sat here at the beginning of this season saying that Marcus Rashford will get 25 goals and assists, or 25 goals in all comps, I think I said. Please don't make me bite my words. Please don't make me regret what I had to say. I mean, that with Højlund out and just with Joshua Zirkzee being the only other option, we need a good performance from Marcus Rashford. Whether it's out wide, I watched a video, guys. I swear it actually upset me yesterday. I was scrolling on TikTok and I came across a video that was a comp of all of Marcus Rashford's like 100 and something goals for Man United, and and the first half of it is obviously all his goals he scored in the first couple of years at Man United, and I thought, bro, I have not seen that Marcus Rashford in a long time. The goals he was scoring, the goals that he scored against City, goals that he scored against Liverpool. I'm talking proper like striker instinct kind of goals. One of them was a header that he scored in Europa League, I think it was. But there's just goals of him coming onto his right foot, burying it top corner, bottom corner, whatever it is. He's lost that burst. Like, he is a shadow of himself. He is, and obviously that's like what? That's nearly 10 years ago. That is near enough to 10 years ago, right? But I was just like, wow. The player that you are now and the player that you were in those videos, it's not the same. And obviously in the moment, I'm thinking, yeah, academy kid, he's a prospect. Wearing number 39. I don't know, maybe the number that he's wearing is cursed. As long as Rashford's motivation is to shut people up, he'll never come good. He needs to do it for himself and the love of the game. I think he needs to do it to shut people up as well, if he wants to, because he's always, whenever he's doing these PR pieces, think about the Players Tribune that he did a couple months back. He's talking about people criticizing him. And of course, I think and especially I think as a player now, because of the internet and because of social media, like criticism it's a lot easier for criticism to reach you, right? Than what it would have been 20 years ago. 20 years ago, right? You have a shit game. The worst thing that happens is you get targeted, you get picked out on Match of the Day for a highlight reel for analysis on your poor performance. That was probably the worst that could happen, right? But nowadays, 20 years later, you have a crap performance, people are going to make fail comps of you. People are going to make videos about you. People are going to make TikToks about you. People are going to make edits about you. People are going to be talking about you non-stop until the next match day. Like, I agree with you, per se, with a little bit with this Jarvis, but I also agree that if he wants to shut people up, he needs to have a good performance. That should be one of his motivations. His other motivations should be to be successful and all of that stuff. But his personal kind of commitment should be, I need to shut people up because people are going to keep talking. Let me see what else you are saying. Poor Rashford seems overthinking fan reactions more than enjoying that. Dave says, Minna, it's not the player, it's the manager's tactics. People thought Son was dead 2 years ago because but it was Conte's dead tactics, basically playing him as left back. What is it in Ten Hag's tactics that is making Marcus Rashford regress? That's my question. Because I look at Marcus Rashford and I think, is it a decision from you not to go forward every time and to go back? Or is it an instruction from the manager? Because I look at Amad Diallo and he's always he's ready to take on his man. Amad Diallo on the right-hand side is ready to take on his man or play the 1-2 to get into some space and create something. Whereas Marcus Rashford, every time, I've noticed one thing, and I think I noticed it more at the Liverpool game when I was at the Liverpool game. He was in acres of space because Trent kept going forward and kind of going into midfield. He was in so much space. No one's finding him. Teammates are making the wrong decision or the wrong pass every single time instead. And that I sympathize with. But I also look at every time he gets the ball. And there was a time when Marcus Rashford would get the ball and kind of hit the line. Try get by a man. He'll do that kick and run thing that we always used to say, why is he just kicking the ball and running after it? But he had the pace to beat a guy. Now it's like he knows that he doesn't even have the pace to beat a player. And he just goes, looks back, and passes the ball back. Every single time. Cash money. So at that point, I'm like, is it tactics? Or is it his decision? Because Ten Hag can't be instructing Ahmad to do one thing and telling Rashford to do one thing. Maybe the management team know that he's lost his explosiveness and he doesn't really have that pace that he had. So they're trying to find a more technical way to get him to beat a man or to get him to create a chance. But it's just gonna, I think, bring more criticism. And that brings me to my next point. I don't think Rashford should start tomorrow. I don't think Rashford should start. I think he, similar to, I don't know if you lot remember, and let's go back to his that year that he under Erik ten Hag in his first year where he had 30-something goals and assists, he didn't really hit the ground running until just before the World Cup break, right? He didn't really hit the ground running until the World Cup break. He had a few goals, but not a lot, not as much as he ended up finishing with. I think it's the best time to bench him now. I think now is the best time to bench him. Not necessarily, I'm not saying bench him like permanently throughout the game. Have him as an impact sub. Have him as an impact sub. I would much rather have Amad Diallo on the right and Garnacho on the left. For me, Amad Diallo is Manchester United's best winger. I'm being dead ass. He is Manchester United's best winger for what he contributes, for his technical level, and how good of a player he is. For me, there's no one near him when it comes to the wide options that Manchester United have. Not Marcus Rashford, not Garnacho, and definitely not Anthony. But I also think that Garnacho, similar, if we go back to what Erik ten Hag is saying in his presser, that players earn the right to play. For me, Garnacho has, over the last couple of games, earned the right to play. He's earned the right to at least start. And I don't think benching Amad is the right way to go about it. I don't think it's the right way. I think Amad Diallo offers the most creativity on the wide side. When he has... So you're now comparing Amad with Beckham. When did I say that I'm comparing Amad to Beckham? Don't be a troll. Don't be a troll, because we're having legit conversations here. But yeah, so for me, when Amad Diallo gets the ball, he's creating something, whether it's for himself or for a teammate. He's going to create something. Now, if we go back to the Liverpool game, 90-something minute, Amad Diallo has the ball. He does this little jockey, plays the ball to Bruno, who's next to him, and makes the kind of run to play 1-2, and Bruno just walloped it into the crowd. He absolutely smashed it into the crowd. That's when I got up and walked out. At that point, that's when I left the stadium, right? That was like 93rd minute, I think. For me, Amad is a different type of winger. And if you just go off of what... I'm going off of what Ten Hag says. Like, some people understood the reasoning for benching Amad against Liverpool. But also, I looked at it and thought, Robinson would have struggled a lot more against Amad than he did against Garnacho. Garnacho didn't really create much against the Liverpool game until the latter stages before he came off. And Amad was electric from the minute that he came on. I think Amad Diallo had the most touches in the opponent's box for Manchester United, and he only played 20 minutes. I disagree. Rashford and Amad should start. Garnacho has been worse than Rashford. You think so? Do you think so? And he's a youngster. Game time should be managed. I agree with the game time being managed part, but for me, it's like, yes, I think between... Okay, I hear the instance in... If you start Rashford, I think you get more of an impact sub in Garnacho, right? There's no guarantee that you start Garnacho and Marcus Rashford comes on and has impact. But I do think that if you reverse it and start Rashford, you're more likely to get impact from Garnacho. For me, I just think it's the ideal thing is for Amad to start. I think Brighton game, he wasn't the best of performances, but we know that he had a lot of external matters impacting him, right? So I kind of get that. I understand that part. But out of all of Man United's creative options, Amad's the best one. And I'm putting into consideration Bruno. It's about internal and external focus. At this point, trying to prove others wrong seems misguided. Just my outside perspective, though. No, I appreciate it. I appreciate your perspective. A win is not really enough. We need the points and performance. We can't keep scraping past teams with less resources and worse squads. I absolutely agree with you on that. And that's why I think, where do we see Joshua Zirkzee in his role tomorrow? Because in an ideal world, right? We don't live in an ideal world, but in an ideal world, I would see Joshua Zirkzee playing this kind of... What is this? This Bobby Firmino role, where he's playing a lot deeper and trying to link the play and kind of be the box crashing striker, making a run into the box. In an ideal world, that opens up space for people to make runs in. So it opens up space for Rashford, Amad, etc. Now I said ideal world. Now also in an ideal world, I would like my striker to be in the box. But when I watched Joshua Zirkzee for the Netherlands, and then I watched him obviously for the Liverpool game, I realized that his strengths particularly is not being an out and out number 9. Maybe because I've always loved traditional nines. Like, I grew up in an era where there was some ridiculous strikers. Ruud van Nistelrooy, the era of R9, the greatest striker in my opinion, the greatest number 9. So I've always liked that kind of 9, and I feel like football has evolved from that, unfortunately. And you just look at the crop of 9s right now. You kind of look at the crop of 9s that Manchester United have, which I understand that he's not necessarily that type of 9, and that's fine. That's totally understandable. But how do we see him fitting into a Southampton team? Because I think the Southampton team, tomorrow for Manchester United, I think it will go two ways. I think it's either they just play deep and just defend half of the game, or it's a basketball match. And I don't know which one is the likely one to happen. Let me know which one you think, guys, is the likely one to happen. It's either that they play deeper and United just kind of dominate, or it's just a basketball game, which requires bodies in midfield, which I can imagine Joshua Zirkzee coming a lot deeper. Now, with Højlund being out, my only worry is that United don't have any attacking options off the bench. That is my only worry. I mean, you look at the bench and it's Anthony, maybe Garnacho on the bench. That's it. There's not really any other attacking options for Manchester United. Esco says we are winning 3-0. Onana assist. You know what's so funny? I actually said that Onana will get an assist this season. Like, that was one of my hot takes. I wouldn't say football evolved from it. Osimhen and Fulkrug are some of the best strikers out there, although one is playing in Galatasaray. I think Osimhen's situation just got him playing in Turkey. But when you think about the kind of number 9s back in the days, right? I think they are different to the 9s now. And that's why I say football has evolved, not just for strikers, but just as a sport. Football has evolved. Like, when I was growing up watching football, fullbacks' job was to overlap and put crosses in and defend. Now you're seeing fullbacks inverted, like back in the day, you don't really have to be a goalkeeper that was good with his feet per se, because your defenders and midfielders would be able to have the ball all the time. You just had to worry about saving. That's it. I feel like football has become a lot more of a philosophy now, and you kind of as a coach, you have to ingrain your philosophy into players, for them to get to play the way that you want. I mean, Pep is just a perfect, I think, example of that. But how many likes are we on right now, guys? I always forget to check the likes. We're on 70, man. We're on 70. By the end of the stream, let's try get to 100 likes, inshallah, God willing. If you want to join the Minions gang, guys, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course, you get to support the growth of the channel, the ever growing channel. If you want to support the channel in other ways, you can by, of course, joining the Minions gang, by liking, by subscribing, and by sending in super chats with your comments, with your questions, and with your thoughts. And as I mentioned, later on this evening, I will be live on Twitch. Link is in the comment section right now. Please, 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 guys. I'm only trying to get to 100 followers on Twitch. I think I'm like 13 away or maybe 14 away. And I'll be playing Miles Morales. I know. That game came out years ago. But I'll be playing Spider-Man Miles Morales on stream. Maybe play 2K, depending on how long I'm on stream for. So please go on and follow me on Twitch and join the community. And you can join me there later this evening. Let me see what you lot are saying. Russell Martin is going to outcoach Eric Ten Hag. Southampton just got the past 2 weeks to work together in preparation for Ten Hag's tactics, incorporating their new players. #scary hours. If we're saying #scary hours for Southampton, that's mad. That's mad. I would watch, but I absolutely despise Twitch from an anti-corp stance. I hear it, but I have a gaming channel, but I haven't hit 100 subs yet on the gaming channel, so I can't go live on there yet. So I have to do Twitch. Unfortunately, Twitch is, and I struggled to, like, I'm so used to navigating YouTube and how the back end of YouTube works. I'm still trying to get the hang of Twitch and the concept of like subs and all of that kind of stuff. So it doesn't hurt to make an account, guys. It doesn't hurt to just make an account on Twitch and just press follow and come and watch. If we lose tomorrow, I'm saying some crazy stuff. I've been saying this for days, right? The mighty have fallen. How the mighty have fallen. Yo, I'm slightly worried for tomorrow. Everybody is saying this, guys. Oh, there's no link. Let me see. Have I been posting the wrong Twitch link all this time? Because I'm an idiot if I have. Here it is. Here it is. Let me click on it. Does it open up? Yes, it does. Is that the same one as my bio? Is that the same one that I've been posting? Let me just make sure it's the same one I'm posting. Yeah, there you go. Oh, the gaming channel. Oh, you know why? Because I'm an idiot. I always put the wrong link, guys, to my gaming channel. I'm a disgrace. I'm a disgrace. Let me put the right link here. There you go. I keep spelling my own name wrong. I keep spelling my own name wrong. I think that should be the right link. Yeah, that is the right link. That is the right link. All right. Guys, it's scaring me that a lot of you lot are saying that you're worried tomorrow. Like, tomorrow is going to be long. Midnight is 12 p.m. kickoff. Like, it can't get worse. The sun's hot. Brother, the sun is not hot. Like, let me confirm to you lot, the sun in the south of England is not hot right now. It is cold as hell. It's cold as hell. I think we're going to die. That's a bit dramatic. But my only worry is, guys, Manchester United. Let's have a look at Manchester United's. Everyone's saying they're nervous. Man United fixtures at 12:30 p.m. Yusuf says he's confident. That's good. That's good. Thank you very much. Thank you. At least somebody is confident. I want to see historic games that Man United have played at 12:30 p.m. because anytime I think back to a Man United 12:30 game, I can't think of anything positive. I cannot think of anything positive. Let me try to see last season. Going into tomorrow, ideally, I would like Manchester United to wallop them. I would like Man United to wallop them, batter them. 3-4. There was a time, guys, if I'm not wrong, United scored 9 against Southampton. If I'm not wrong, that's when United scored 9 under Ollie. And yet we're going into tomorrow's game saying we're nervous. That should not be the case. That should not be the case. Now, of course, under Erik ten Hag, I think it's been unconvincing games against Southampton. We've only beaten them once out of 2 games, right? And we drew the other one 0-0. Now, my worry for me is Manchester United's away record. Man United's away record is very, very bad. I mean, last season, their away record in the league was poor, right? And under Erik ten Hag, it's not gotten better. I mean, last season, Manchester United's home record was not really that good, but they lost 8 games away from home last season. Excuse me. They lost 8 games and drew 3 in the Premier League campaign specifically. Now, if we go back to Erik ten Hag's first campaign, let's go back to Erik ten Hag's first year. Let's go back to Erik ten Hag's first year at Manchester United, and let's look at the away record then. The away record then under Erik ten Hag, again, 8 losses. So we've not really had a good away record against Erik ten Hag, guys. We've lost. We've won 16 and lost 16 away from home under Erik ten Hag. Just for some context, guys. Context is important. We've lost 16 and won 16. And Manchester United's next coming game? Southampton is away. Palace is away. I think FC20 in Europa League is at home. Barnsley is at home in the Cup. Spurs is at home. So they've got a run of games at home in this month. But it's next month that scares me for their record away from home. So Ugarte arrived late, very handy excuse. But if we can't throw him in against Southampton, then what are we doing? He's a pro footballer. He can play no problem. You know what, Peter? I 100% actually agree with you. I 100% agree with you because what we did with, for example, Matthijs de Ligt, and this is no criticism on Matthijs de Ligt, right? But with Matthijs de Ligt, we eased him in against Brighton, against Fulham, and then threw him in against Liverpool to start the game. I would have just liked if we threw him in against Brighton, like we did with Mazraoui. Now, I understand the Ligt situation is different to Ugarte's. Ugarte has been playing. He went on international duty to play with Uruguay. He's played a number of minutes. So there's this notion that he's not match fit. I'm not going to buy it, and I'm not going to buy it at all. Maybe is he lacking in some sort of fitness? Possibly. He's missed preseason. He's missed preseason, but If you are fit enough to go away on international duty and play, then you are fit enough to play for Manchester United. And you know what? You're fit enough to play against Southampton. The only way, guys, that I see him not being fit enough or match ready to play for Manchester United is because he's going to play as a lone midfielder. That is the only way that I see it happening for Manuel Ugarte, that Erik ten Hag continues to play in his midfield, kind of this lone midfield. And as a result, he needs Manuel Ugarte's fitness to be up to a certain level, which I will absolutely lose it. I will absolutely lose it. But quickly, guys, before we kind of wrap it up, predictions. Predictions for tomorrow. I said 1-0 on United View yesterday. I said Man United will win 1-0. I said they will just nick it. They will nick a goal some way. Bruno or someone will create. Bro, I need to get a new chair because my chair is just making noises all the time. Flipping out. I need to get what's that brand called? I forgot what that brand is called. Something Labs. Anyway, but Man United for me, I said Man United will nick it. And I still feel like that. I still feel like that. But I just feel like it's so difficult predicting Man United games nowadays. Like over the last 12 months, it's taken everything out of me to kind of predict a game because you just don't know what you're gonna get. You know what it's like? It's like, have any of you guys ever did mystery shirts, the mystery football shirts that you can buy online, right? And you open it, you don't know what you're gonna get. You could get a Liverpool shirt. You could actually get it. That's how I feel with Man United. I'm gonna open the box and I don't know what I'm gonna get. I don't know if I'm gonna get a loss, a battering. I don't know if I'm gonna get a comfortable win. I don't know if I'm gonna get a snatch and grab. I do not know what Manchester United are going to give us tomorrow. But I know that Manchester United will get 3 points. Now, please do not make me regret this. My worries, like I've said, do you guys have any worries going into tomorrow's game? Let me know if you have any concerns that you think will kind of impact the performance or the result. For me, 12:30 kickoffs have not been a good thing for Man United under Erik ten Hag. An away game under Erik ten Hag has not been the most impressionable. A game just fresh back from international break as well is worrying off the back of a loss to Liverpool, of course, before that. So there's just a lot of factors. There is a lot of factors. I'm worried Anthony will turn into a footballer. If Anthony turns into a footballer, that's a good thing for us. Like, can I just say, if I don't like a player, like I'm not fond of Anthony, but if he has a good performance today, I'm going to come here and I'm going to applaud him for that. Why? Because if he has a good performance, that benefits us. Why would you not want him to turn into a footballer? The point is, we did better than any other. Oh, you lot are talking about the 1920 season. Cab says we are conceding 100%. I don't know about conceding. I mean, have Southampton even scored? Have Southampton even scored a goal? Let me look at the Premier. Let me look at the Premier League. Big up pyramid scheme. Big up pyramid scheme. Let me see. Southampton. I don't even know if they've scored. But I know Southampton. This is the thing, guys. You lot are saying we're going to lose to Southampton. They've lost every game so far this season. They've scored 1 goal. We've scored 2. Yeah. Come on. XG hype. XG hype. Absolutely mudded. We are in the bin. Can we take Ella Toon for the midfield? Oh no, I don't even think she's gonna be available for Man United. Her father just passed away, so I'm not sure about that. But yeah, please don't type in caps, guys, because you're effing up the chat for the people typing in caps. But come on, guys, Southampton have not won a game. Yeah, they've scored 1 goal. At least we've won a game and we've scored 2 goals. You know how bad this is. This is bad. This is bad. Has Onana done an interview on the break? If not, clean sheet. He hasn't. He's been on international duty. I saw him playing games for Cameroon. So he's been on international duty. First win for them. Come on. No bad vibes, guys. You know the motto on this channel, guys, is strictly good vibes. So let's not anticipate that Southampton. But if they do, I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, guys, for Mina's state of mind. Because Mina's state of mind might be chaotic. If Manchester United lose tomorrow, and I'm just saying, I'm giving you lot a warning, and I don't think it's going to happen. Please don't make me have these words bite me. But I'm being honest, guys. Tomorrow, 2:30, we've already got the stream set up. You lot know You lot know after a game we go live immediately for Mina's state of mind. My state of mind might be chaotic. In my language, we say something like like I'm all over the place. That might be me tomorrow. But I think United will win. So I'm not worried about I'm trying to not worry about that. But 12:30 kickoffs. I actually like 12:30 kickoffs, I'm not gonna lie, because I can get all my content done by like the afternoon and I'm free as a bird for the rest of the evening. But that means I have to get all my chores done in the morning. Yeah, I don't know. Minnow, we'll see tomorrow when we see Southampton turn into prime Barca. Even in their worst season, they never really bopped us off the pitch, guys. They never did what Bournemouth did to us, for example, what Solanke did to us. So we can take some benefit into that. 12:30, we're cooked. Oh my days, we've been shaken. I mean, yeah, but we've had two 12:30 kickoffs out of 4 games, guys. We've had a late kickoff on a Friday, two 12:30 kickoffs, and a Super Sunday 4 o'clock kickoff. Which I get that Super Sunday United will always, if it's a big game, they'll play at 4 on Super Sunday. But two 12:30 kickoffs and both of them down south. It's not looking good. It's not looking good. United. Listen, we just have to stay positive, guys. We have to stay positive. Let me see. We will win 3-1. Let me go through the predictions quickly because I actually didn't go through you lot's predictions. Okay. Ridwan says 3-1. Yusuf says 3-1. Javed says 3-0 minimum. IK says 6-0 to United. Come on. Listen, if United scores 6, I'll give away 5 memberships on the channel, guys. I will give away 5. I will pay myself. And I will give away memberships to you guys if Man United do that. Adam says 3-1 Southampton. Don't be negative, Adam. 3-2 Man United. Listen, if it's one of those kind of basketballish games, yeah, I don't want to sign up to that. I do not want to sign up to that. Big up to Sully. Says 2-1 Southampton. You guys are predicting Southampton to win when they have not won a game all season. They've lost 3. They've lost 3 in it. Them and Everton, I think, are the only teams to not lose a game. They've lost a game. They've lost all their games. Wolves have drawn 1 and lost 2. So at least they got a point. But there's only 2 teams in the league that do not have a point on the table. And that's Southampton and Everton. Please, guys, be realistic. Please be realistic. 1-0 and inshallah. It's crazy how people have just turned inshallah into like a football term. We win. We're gonna win, guys. We are gonna win, and I'm gonna stick on that. And who's goal scorers? Who are you lot saying goal scorers? Because I've seen you lot saying 6-0. I've seen some of you lot saying 3-1. So you're thinking United are gonna score. I think, to be honest, do you guys have any Man United forwards in your fantasy team? Because I took Bruno out of mine today. I've had enough of him. I took him out. I only have Mizraoui in my fantasy team from Manchester United. I don't know who's going to score. I said 1-0. Eric Ten Hag. If United won 10-0, listen, I would love that. But I don't think that's going to happen. Because you ditch Bruno. Bruno will now score. You know what? That will happen. That happens all the time. I think the minute... Ali's saying that we should all fast tomorrow in hope of Man United winning. Bruno Ahmad Dallo. Nice. Ahmad. You got Ahmad in your team. I still have Bruno. The pyramid says Ahmad Eaton bench. For me, I think who's going to score? I think Bruno could score. I'd like Zirkzee to score. I just want to have a goal scorer that's scoring goals. You know what I mean, guys? I want to have a striker that's scoring goals. I don't know. I'm a simple person. Big up to Sully with the super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate the contribution. It does a lot for the channel. Says all you have to do versus United is be aggressive and win for real. Zirkzee, Mizraoui deflection and Garnacho. I think Bruno will score or Bruno will get an assist because that happens to me all the time. I take someone out of my FPL and they score or they get an assist. It happens inevitably. But you lot know what it is. Listen, guys, did we get to 100 likes? We're not that far off. We're not that far off. So if you're watching this back, please do hit the like button. If you are new here, please do subscribe. If you want to join the Minions gang, like I said, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course, you get to support the growth of the ever-growing community here on the channel. It's the road to 7K, and then after, actually, it's the road to 10K, but it's the road to 7K. So hopefully we can get there maybe by the end of the month. I don't know. We have to wait and see. But like I said, guys, as I mentioned in the description of the video below, link to my Twitch. Please, please, please. I'm not going to say please again, but I will. Please go and follow me on Twitch. I'll be live later this evening playing Spider-Man, Miles Morales. I've already played Spider-Man 2 that came out last year. So now I'm going to play Miles Morales, which came out before that, because I'm a bit backwards. But there's nothing wrong with that. So come over to the Twitch and come join the community there whilst we chit chat and obviously run through the game. I'll be live tomorrow, inshallah, God willing, at 2:30 p.m. UK time. The stream is already up there. So go and turn on your post notifications for that stream. 2:30 p.m. straight after the game. You can find me live for Minna's State of Mind, and hopefully it will be a positive state of mind and it won't be a chaotic one. But I hope you lot enjoy your Friday evening, whatever you get up to. If you're not joining us on the stream on Twitch, don't be a disgrace, don't be a cheat. And I'll see a lot of you guys hopefully tomorrow, inshallah. I hope you have a wonderful evening, guys. I'm out. You know what it is. Hit the like button, guys. Peace.